just I think lacks, with the exception of my two partners here, lacks conviction. So
Yeah, and then for me to hop in, and I think Suncat definitely, we've spoken enough
Cheers, we can't
about
hear
sort
you
of
unless
this
it's
second.
just me.
yeah, it's just you, Zappo. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, after this, I'll take a little lap, see if that helps out. But yeah, just to kind of start off with Suncad with the second CTO, definitely a lot has happened, and I think kudos to you and your entire team for sticking it through. It's definitely not easy running a CTO, but running a second CTO of a CTO can only be, you can only handle so much. But for myself, um, how I got into this space, right? So it all started in 2021. I was fresh out of school, was in my first corporate job, and dabbled into NFTs. That's how I got my first introduction to this space, and it was through Ethereum. So really went through the works with the NFT bull cycle. And then at the beginning of 2022, I decided to take the leap, took a sort of leap of faith, and went full time in crypto. What was a part of Ethereum, Solana, both from the NFT side, DeFi side, and especially meme coins. I think early in 2023, Solana meme coins really took off. Had its first wave, much like the Tron, right? TRX. Sort of that first meme wave back in August, September. And we saw that huge influx, but then it died down. And I think for Solana, it was a similar situation where you saw these large sort of inflows into Solana, but there wasn't much, there wasn't any new tokens being created. There wasn't that much development. A lot of it was still early on, right? Like I remember early on into Solana, you had to swap on Radium. There were no bots, there were no sniper bots, and it was very early. Almost, you know, you could tell something was there, right? Compared to Ethereum, Solana had much quicker speeds, much cheaper fees, and you saw something there, right? So for me, sort of with all my experience from Ethereum, Solana, being a part of these different projects when Tron memes blew up in August, a couple months ago, I obviously was invested early, saw it, invest in a bunch of different projects, and saw T-Bull. And at first, I was a community member. I wasn't the first sort of, I wasn't the developer. I wasn't leading this project, but I was connected enough with the community where I was able to get a direct contact with the lead. And about 2 weeks into the project, I decided to take over the CTO and sort of push this thing, right? Obviously, we're going to get into sort of the challenges of dealing with a project and leading a project. Um, but I think with the first 2 weeks, after the first 2 weeks, I took over, and it's really been such a big journey for myself. I think the past 4 or 5 months, when people ask, the why of why I sort of took this over, is I really see this early narrative, right? I saw it with sort of Ethereum meme coins, Solana meme coins especially, and I think with TRX and Tron, everything is pointing towards liquidity and flows, development, and although it's slow at the moment, I think moving forward, there's going to continue to be development. And at the end of the day, it's really all about community. And I think we've certainly built up such a great community on Tron, and moving forward, I really see a future of Tron meme coins continuing to thrive. So, really excited. But Suncat, if Zappo can't hear me, I'm gonna take a little lap and see if that helps out.
Cheers, I can hear you now. I've decided to join the space on my laptop as well, so I've got two accounts running at the moment to try and listen to you. But it's very interesting to hear both of you about how you've come into the space, and my journey is also, again, quite unique in terms of how I ended up in the space and what was the key bits for me. I think firstly, I'm one of those individuals who likes to be early and learn about things as much as I can. And I remember I mean, I'm not that young anymore, so I remember I've gone through a lot of different cycles of different things that have been the hype. There's been loads of pyramid schemes I've been involved with in my early days when you were trying to make money and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously crypto started becoming quite big. And I've always been one of those individuals who sort of wants to jump in and just see what things are about, because once you try and understand something, then it becomes a lot easier to try and then build from there. And what got me really involved specifically on the project side now is after you've been in crypto long enough, you start noticing the patterns of obviously a lot of scammers, a lot of rugs, and all of this stuff. It's sort of the big noise in crypto. When you compare it to some of the legit stuff that's happening, and myself and obviously the other people who are working with me on Zappa, we've been in this industry for a very long time, in this space for a very long time, and just like JS just mentioned and John just mentioned, it's very important to build connections. And what ended up happening subsequently is we build connections with a lot of people, and you start realizing who are the people you want long-term connections with, and who do you want long-term relationships with, who do you trust, who do you not trust. And we got in a position where four, five, six of us were very close to each other for a very long time, and we started noticing over and over the same patterns that were happening in the meme space and other crypto spaces, and we just sat there and thought, we can do this, and we can do this a lot better. And that became really exciting for us. Why? Because I remember the early days, and I'm sure a lot of you are probably experiencing this. It was very exciting to just trade crypto, right? Buy things, see them go up, and all that kind of stuff. But eventually, things start to wear off, and you want to do more and more. And that really brought us in a position where we thought, right, this is a good opportunity for us. We understand this space really well. We also understand this space to a point where we know what are the pitfalls people need to avoid. Yes, everyone pretends to be their perfect. We're not, just like everyone else. So what we're trying to do is create something which basically gives us and the community the strongest conviction play that we possibly can. And in the same way, like we were very careful in picking people who work on this project, we're also then very careful in the partners we work with. And JS and John, working with the two of them, the biggest reason for working with both of them was mainly because they've seen it happen with their own projects, where the leaders have disappeared, and then you have the leaders that come off the back of this. So I don't think you can underestimate the work John and JS have done to get Tron and Suncat in the position they're in, because it's very difficult and it is very demoralizing when you see a project that's done really well, then there's a rug or there's a CTO takeover and stuff. It takes a lot to get the buy-in from the community again. So I've got to give both of you props to what you've achieved over here. Hence why we love working with you, and it's good to see. Right, moving on to the next point, and I think we can all firmly agree, in order for us to be successful in this space, especially in the meme project space, the most important thing there is building a strong community. Because without communities, we're literally nothing. We're just a Twitter page with a dream, but nothing else. So there's a lot of stuff it takes to build strong communities. But what I'd like to know from JSU and John, from you, from your perspective, what do you think are the key important things to build strong communities? What does it take to build strong communities? John, JS, who wants to take this one first?
Yeah, I mean, I can go first. I feel like John certainly loves going first, but I'm gonna cut in real quick. But yeah, I mean, with building a strong community, I think there's a number of different ways to build up a community. But I think for us at T-Bull, one thing that has really remained true is, and that I've tried to emphasize is focusing on the long term vision.